let's get this conversation started with my first question on the list here. This is a good one. Will Teller speak tonight?
Yeah.
What's the origins of not speaking? Where did that start, or where did that come from?
For me, it was a rebellion against magic patter, which always seemed to me silly or insulting in some way. You know, it would be, here I have a rabbit. Well, that's generally obvious to the spectator. Or it would be something like, a 13-year-old kid saying, I am 200 years old and I traveled through time to entertain you here. That was actually a line that I had in my act when I was about 13. And I realized later how embarrassing that was. And so it started as that, and then I became interested in the idea of lying without speaking. Presenting ideas, presenting actions in such a way that the audience themselves had to lie to themselves about what they were. And then after I did that for a while, I began to discover that it was a really good discipline tactic. If I would play a rough circumstance, if I tried to shout people down, I mean, just look at me, you'd overwhelm me. But if I came in and undercut that and just put, some bright lights on me and turned all the rest of the lights off and did creepy stuff, people attended to it. And then finally, in the last few years, I've realized that it's an amazingly intimate way to communicate with a group of people. Because if you don't have the comfort of conversation, you have this moment where you have to really look at someone and they have to look back at you. And that's a tremendous feeling of intimacy.
Tell me a little bit about this Broadway show. What can we expect in this? It's been 15 years since you were there. What can we expect from this?
Well, what we tried to do, this is kind of, we're getting wicked old. And we've been out in Vegas now for, over 20 years. We've been to the same theater. We're now the longest running headliners in Vegas history. And how'd that happen? It seems like all I have to really do in life is not want to do something, and I have a great deal of success. I didn't want to really go to Broadway, didn't want to really go to Vegas, didn't want to really do magic, do it fine. So for this show, in Vegas, most all performers in Vegas, they get a show together somewhere else. Usually in Vegas nowadays, it's either New York or Montreal. And they get a show together and they get a great deal of success with that show. Then they move it to Vegas and it just stays there. There's very little economic pressure to change shows in Vegas because the audience is changing. So it's kind of like you're touring without moving. So people keep the shows identical for 20 years in Vegas. We did not go to Vegas for that reason. So we're always writing new stuff because we work together in order to write together. I don't have as much interest in the performing as I do in the writing. And so we try to put new stuff in all the time. But this time, coming back to Broadway and having been 40 years we've been working together, and having it been so long since we've been on Broadway, we decided to really put together kind of the ultimate Penn and Teller show. Not a greatest hits, not the most popular stuff, but the stuff that kind of swung together just kind of right. So we're trying to do with this show the definitive Penn and Teller show, so that then if we die in a plane crash on the way back, we've kind of wrapped it up very, very nicely for the TV movie. And all I'm hoping for that is that it's not on Lifetime. It's my one thing. All he wanted was for his biography not to be on Lifetime. Please. It's one dying wish. He begged us all.
So much about magic that has to do with sort of the macabre and cheating death.
When a 14 or 15-year-old boy or girl becomes obsessed with the macabre and scary stuff, and put rubber cement on their face and make it look like they're horrible burn victims, how shallow and ignorant of humanity do you have to be to think that that person is celebrating death? That person is celebrating life by by acting out, exploring, and faking death, suffering, and pain, you are affirming life. You're saying, I'm a healthy 14-year-old, and this has not happened to me. All horror movies, all scary movies are an affirmation of life. When people come to our show, we are trying to make the visceral and the intellectual crash as violently as possible. That is the purpose of all art, but certainly magic, and probably the purpose of all life.
Are you friends off stage? Do you hang out after? No, not so much. No?
I mean, we not much. I mean, we probably go out socially twice a year. Maybe we see a movie or something like that. But you know, it just turns out. It's been 40 years. It turns out that that respect is more durable than affection. And when Tel and I first met, there was no sort of cuddly friendship that happened. It was always very, very intellectual, trying to do good stuff. So consequently, you know, I mean, I think Lennon and McCartney fell in love, and Gilbert and Sullivan fell in love. Certainly Martin and Lewis fell in love. And then the first time things aren't good, it's heartbreaking. We've only cared about the show. We've always wanted to do the show the best we could. Now, that being said, when my children were born, Teller was, you know, the first one in to meet them. And when our parents died, we were the first ones each other talked to. I mean, over the years, you know, my daughter, Moxie, who's somewhere here, was very concerned because she wanted to make sure that, you know, Teller was my BFF. And that had to be clear to her. And she's right, Teller is. I mean, over those years, we have become very close friends. But we don't socialize much because what we care about is the show.
Yeah.
And also, if you're very good friends with somebody, you may be afraid to fight with them. And I don't believe it's worth having a creative partner if the creative partner agrees with you. I mean, you really must find someone who is going to take you someplace where you are not going to go. You might not even be willing to go, but who can struggle and get to the better idea instead of just the one that's very easy to accommodate.
Sure.